On this railway adventure, the Welsh Xanadu, a prize captured from King Edward I, as we travel the coast of Western Wales. Hi, I'm Bernie Coppell. Just up the tracks, the trophy castle of a freedom fighter and breathtaking views of Cardigan Bay. Join me from Ffestiniog to Aberystwyth on railway adventures across Europe. There's a castle in Wales that symbolizes the Welsh struggle for independence. It stands as a tribute to the spirit of the people and their beautiful countryside. We capture their spirit of freedom and get a glimpse of the soul of Wales on this railway adventure. Our journey covers far more than just the distance between Ffestiniog and Aberystwyth. The sights we'll see along the way span centuries of time in a land rich in legend and heritage. As we travel the rails, we'll see how 19th century Welshmen tamed the sea to protect their farmlands. Visit the castle captured from King Edward I and get an incredible view from Criccieth on Cardigan Bay. We'll also visit the subtropical gardens of Sir Clough Williams-Ellis. Stay with us for the Ffestiniog Railway and its famous double Fairley locomotives, the Talachlin Railways, the Constitution Hill Cliff Railway, and the narrow-gauge steam-powered Arahadel Railway. All aboard for Wild, Wild Wales.
Our railway adventure takes us to the small country of Wales. Located on the western side of Great Britain, Wales is the birthplace of the railway preservation movement. It's the home of many unique and interesting restored steam train excursions. Our adventure begins in the Welsh town of Ffestiniog, located about 200 miles west of London and easily accessible by British Rail. From Ffestiniog, we'll travel south along the wild and beautiful Welsh coastline to the resort town of Aberystwyth. We'll also join two steam train excursions. Along the way, the pristine beaches and historic castles are incomparable. We first travel by British Rail to Blaenau Ffestiniog. From there, it's on to Porthmadog on the Ffestiniog Railway. Before traveling down the line, there's time for a look around the town. Blaenau Ffestiniog is dominated by slate. The barren landscape stands as impressive testimony to the industry of bygone days, when the town was home to thousands of miners who cut the slate by hand from the mountains all around. A glimpse of these former mines can still be found at Cleckwed Slate Caverns, where the miners' tramway takes passengers on a tour of the complex network of tunnels and caverns. Demonstrations of mining techniques and early Victorian mining conditions are recreated in the caverns. For a tour of the mine, special incline railways take passengers 400 feet below the surface. Guides are available to answer questions. Back on the surface, a slate splitter demonstrates how solid rock is split into thin sheets and then cut down to size. The Welsh people struggled against the scenic mountain terrain, then found prosperity in it during the Industrial Revolution. We can see one of the Ffestiniog Railway's famous double fairley locomotives as it steams up towards Ffestiniog. At the Ffestiniog station, preparations are underway for the 9-mile trip by narrow gauge steam railway to Porthmadog. In a moment, the seafaring town of Porthmadog and a castle from the year 1230, when railway adventures continues. From Ffestiniog, we travel 9 miles to Porthmadog. The Ffestiniog Railway is the best known of all the narrow-gauge railways in Wales and was originally constructed in 1835 to take slate down to the coast. The carefully restored engine is named Mountaineer. Because there is no turntable on this rail line, Mountaineer runs backwards on the way to the coast and forward on the run back. In 1950, the line was closed due to the decline in the slate industry. Later, it was rebuilt and opened to serve the region's new industry, tourism. The approach to Porthmadog begins at the mile-long cob. The cob is a wall of clay and straw built in 1811 to hold back the sea across the Glaslyn estuary. The wall saved thousands of acres of land, now reclaimed and turned into fertile farms. Porthmadog is still a busy tourist and yachting center, but in the past, Porthmadog was more famous for its fast-sailing schooners. Its shipbuilding heyday was in the mid-19th century. Especially well known were the 2- and 3-masted schooners, which carried Welsh slate all over the world. The Maritime Museum still tells the story, but today the ships in the harbor are of a different kind. No matter what the size the boat is, the water and the pace here are gentle and relaxed. The area appeals to landlubbers as well, and it's easy to understand why. From here, a wide panorama is seen behind the Glaslyn River. There are several beautiful and historic towns and villages not far from Porthmadog. Heading west on British Rail, the first side trip is to the bay city of Criccieth. The views from Criccieth on Cardigan Bay reveal the entire northwest coast of Wales. Here a castle stands high above the bay. It was built in 1230 by the Welsh Prince Llewellyn the Great and can be toured from early spring till late fall. Returning to the Ffestiniog Railway, we take another side trip through Minford to nearby Portmeirion. This fairy tale village sits on the cliffs above the shores of Cardigan Bay. The unique architecture and subtropical gardens were designed by Sir Clo William Ellis between 1925 and 1975. His idea was to develop a beautiful site without ruining the area around it, and at the same time cultivate a general interest in architecture. To help achieve that, he took old buildings from other areas and re-erected them at Portmeirion. The result, what some people call the Welsh Xanadu. The intimate village was inspired by Italy's Portofino and has a distinctly Italian feel. Because of its character and beauty, it's often used as a location in feature films. A castle stands testament to the turbulent history of Wales when Railway Adventures continues. From Portmeirion in Wales, it's south on British Rail to Harlech. In this coastal town, wide beaches are backed by sand dunes that roll into rich farmland. But the historic heart of the town is the castle standing high on the rocks. The castle was built by King Edward I in the 13th century so he could defend his newly won lands. But a Welsh freedom fighter named Owain Glendower captured it in 1404. The castle and the history of this area inspired one of the most well-known traditional Welsh songs called The Men of Harlech. This romantic castle is considered the most picturesque in all of Wales. Leaving Harlech, we continue south along the coast toward Barmouth. The coastal towns of Clonbetter and Dyffryn Ardudai are behind us as we take another detour. Heading up the river Marach to Coedi Brennan, we travel through the forest. Gold mines, waterfalls, bridges, and trails are easily explored by bike. Returning to the coast, our next stop is at the popular holiday town of Barmouth. This resort is tucked under the Cadair Idris Mountains on the waters of Morach Estuary. High above the waterfront, a cluster of 18th and 19th century houses looks down on the long sandy beach. A bridge over the estuary shows the mix of sand, sea, and mountain. From Barmouth, it's south through tiny villages perched high above the cliffs. The next stop is Towan, where we take a side trip and head inland on the Talyllyn Railway toward Aberystwyth. The engine is made up to look like a character from the popular children's television series Thomas the Tank Engine. Like the Ffestiniog, this railway was originally built to carry slate down to the seaports. In 1951, it was rescued from closure and preserved by railway enthusiasts. The scenery along the line is breathtaking. From the Aberystwyth station, visitors walk or ride to the Dolgach waterfalls and through the Nant Gwernol forest. Coming up, a medieval Welsh town and a Victorian village when Railway Adventures returns. From the Talyllyn Railway in Wales and the town of Towan, it's back on British Rail and south to Aberystwyth. This seaside resort has a Victorian feel of charm and tranquility. Cottages nestle above the sea and boats bob gently at their moorings. The beach is the perfect place to spend an afternoon. From Aberystwyth, the train turns inland to Machynlleth, an old market town. The area is steeped in history. In 1404, it was the site of the Parliament of the Freedom Fighters, headed by Owain Glendower. The Parliament House, made from small split stones, still stands. It's a perfect example of late medieval Welsh townhouses. Besides Welsh history, Machynlleth offers modern comfort. Restaurants, hotels, and cafes cater to locals and tourists. From this inland point, it's back to the coast and south to Aberystwyth. Dunes and flat salt marsh mark the way to the coast. The Royal Pier and Seafront Promenade give the town a nostalgic feel. To the north, an electric cliff railway climbs high above the town to Constitution Hill. At the top, views of the town stretch north to reveal all of Cardigan Bay. Aberystwyth is also the starting point for the Rheidol Railway to the Vale, or Valley of Rheidol. The 12-mile adventure by narrow-gauge steam train runs through wooded glens and tumbling waterfalls to Devil's Bridge. According to Welsh legend, the bridge was built by the devil himself. Here, the valley meets the River Minnoch, plunging 400 feet down the Minnoch Falls. It's the area up and inland from here that sparked the growth and prosperity in this part of Wales. The mines of lead, copper, and silver gave birth to the railway, which now carries tourists and locals to the hills and coastline of Western Wales, where our railway adventure across beautiful Wales comes to an end.
We've reached the end of the line on this railway adventure. Wales is the home of railway preservation and a fascinating place to visit. We hope you've enjoyed Wild, Wild Wales. I'm Bernie Coppell. Join me on the next Railway Adventures Across Europe.